Hey there, welcome back to the Heathland, and I'm back in my actual sitting spot. So, before I get into this video, make sure to check out all my social links down below because they're great. Lit over on Instagram because it's all I do. And also, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. That stuff. Let's go. So, if you didn't know, I've just had my very first year of sixth form. And also, if you didn't know, I made the decision to not do A-levels and to instead do an acting BTEC. So I know what you're thinking. Everyone has this idea that BTECs are kind of just fun and games and sitting and doing literally nothing. But really, my year's kind of gone a little more like this. Sit down, Lieutenant. Sit down, Lieutenant. Where to start? Sit down, Lieutenant. In rehearsal. Sit down, Lieutenant! Oh, hey, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I'm not doing anything important. Sit down, Lieutenant. Sit down, Lieutenant. Sit down! Rehearsal. Sit down, Lieutenant! I'm hungry. Develop. Take a seat, Lieutenant. My voice. Pronunciation. Sit down, Lieutenant. That's the one! Effective. Done it! Why is it light outside? No. No! So today, I'm going to talk you through how my first year of sixth form has gone and give you some advice if you're looking at doing either acting or a BTEC or just going into sixth form in general, and, you know, tell you what it's all about. Hit you with how my grades have gone and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. First of all, I'll talk about BTEC specifically because it's really freaking strange. I had never done BTEC before going on to do my acting course. Some people I know do BTEC. It's a lot more common for it to happen in high school now. So, like, you should be good, but it is very, very complicated. For those of you who don't know, BTECs are essentially courses for vocational subjects. So, acting is a very practical subject, as is sport could be one of them. However, there are less vocational ones, like, for example, health and social care you can do as a BTEC. It basically is just kind of like, it's just a more practical course, whereas I could sit drama and theatre studies as an A-level, but it wouldn't give me what I need to go into the industry of acting. So it's essentially just like that. For those of you who don't know, BTECs are often like looked down on as like kind of subpar to A-levels, and they have been for a while. Kind of, you don't have to be smart to do a BTEC and all that. But I think it's very important to know that if you think a BTEC is the right course for your future, then you should ignore that completely, because it has nothing to do with whether or not you're capable. And BTECs are actually hella freaking difficult. So please just ignore that and go with what you think will kind of improve your life and what will get you furthest in the future. That's very important, because I know there was a lot of kind of judgment from people around me, especially just like elder people who just aren't educated, like assuming that I was throwing my life away, which is completely not true. So, BTEC works strangely. So rather than having big exams, you basically get assessed on different topics throughout the year. Or at least that's how it's gone with acting, as that's all I can speak of, because that's the only BTEC I've done. So we've had different units throughout the year, and then we have different assessments throughout, and we get assessed on how we're working throughout the year, and then we have different assessment days, and we have formative assessment, and it's very complicated. Another thing that people seem to not understand is that BTEC isn't completely vocational. It's on a vocational subject, but there is written work. My God, is there written work. There is so much written work. And on a BTEC, the grading system is so harsh that if you mess up on your written work, then everything else plummets. Do your written work, kids, because if you don't do it, then you're in trouble. BTEC works on a grading system of pass, merit, distinction. Pretty simple, right? Well, you're wrong. It literally makes no sense. In each unit, you get one of the grades that I've just specified, and they all are worth a certain amount of points. So a pass is 70, and then a distinction is 90, and your merit is an 80. And at the end of the year, they get all of your grades, and they all equal points, and then they add them all up over your 2 years, and then you just get a magical free combination of these letters. The higher you get, the more D's you get. So unlike A-level, we're aiming for the D, rather than avoiding the D, which is always interesting. And just sounds like an innuendo in itself. Always great. Another rule of BTEC is that you're not allowed to redo any of your assessments which were, like, performed. So on acting, if we do a performed assessment, so we can't retake that. That's it. It's done. Written work, you can resub once on level 3 BTEC, and that's only if the teacher gives you the chance to resub. You kind of can't decide yourself. So if you get like a grade, then they just give it to you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk more about my personal experience on acting, more than just BTECs as a whole, because it's been an interesting year. So hey, Editing Heather here. I realised that the clip that you've just seen makes it sound like I'm going to spill loads of tea, and I actually kind of don't in this video, and I kind of can't for a while. There's like a lot of stuff that has happened this year, and I'd love to tell everyone about it, but I kind of can't, because you know what? I'm still going back next year. So this is mostly just based on everything academic that happened, and later in life I will spill the tea on other things that happened and other thoughts on how this year went, because there's so many storytime vids I can make out of it. But I'm not going to, because that would be bad. Alright, carry on. This year we did 8 units, and at the end of the year we've got a 90 credit diploma. I think that's how it works. To be honest, I'm still a bit unsure myself. So, the units that we did this year were Performance Workshop, Historical Context, Principles of Acting, Devising, Drama Improvisation, Musical Theatre, Voice and Movement. Which is a lot. My timetable has been pretty lovely all year, to be honest. I've had Fridays off, and unless you're doing retakes, then you have the Friday off. I was very lucky that I didn't have to retake maths or English, so I've had my Friday off, which has meant I've got loads of work experience behind me, so that's like a pro. Also, then if you don't want to like do anything, you totally just have a really long weekend. Not that I've done that, but it would be totally great. And then for the rest of the week, my timetable has been pretty nice. Mondays, I only came in from, I think, like 10 until 2:30. And then Tuesdays are my longest day, because they were 9 till 3. And it was a nightmare trying to get the bus, because my bus is like 40 minutes like away from my college, and then a 20-minute walk. Like, why are you doing this to me? And other days were just like similar to the Monday, and then Thursdays in the end we changed when our context lesson was, so in the end Thursdays we literally went in for like 2.5 hours, which was annoying because my bus was so long, but it was really nice. So my timetable has been really lovely this year, and it's definitely given me time to just relax, because the one thing that I found this year is that it's very hard to be constantly like acting all the time. It's really emotionally and physically draining. Oh my gosh. I've often found myself really tired at the end of the day. Mondays were the worst. I used to get home and I just like completely collapse, and it was really tiring, and I struggled. And it's got better throughout the year, but I'm not gonna say it's been easy, because it most certainly hasn't. I think I've really enjoyed the aspect of not having an exam to work towards and that kind of pressure, but it's got its own pressures of just doing acting and it being a BTEC, because we're constantly being assessed in like most of our lessons. So I'll talk you through what we've actually done this year and through each of the different units. So the first units we started with were voice, movement, musical theatre, principles of acting, and drama improvisation. So we had voice lessons, movement lessons, musical theatre, and project. And project is where we covered drama improvisation and principles of acting. Voice has been pretty easy, in my opinion. I've already got a lot of experience on handling the voice, because I used to have voice lessons and singing lessons, so I did find as a whole throughout the year the unit quite easy. We started off with this assessment about what's good and bad for the voice, but rather than just doing a long piece of written work, he got us to do a voice video telling us about like what's good and what's bad. And my friends and I made an awesome like rap. I wrote this whole rap, I made this beat, and then we filmed it. It was so funny. I'll insert some of it here.
For your voice you gotta sacrifice it all. No drugs, no dairy, don't be a fool. So if you actually wanna be cool, the actor's life is not for you.
Oh yeah!
So voice was pretty easy, and it's been continually quite easy. We've just done a lot of workshops actually, and they've been really helpful. Like, it's not that I've not learned anything, it's just that they were quite laid back, and a lot of assessment was just participating in the lessons, and then like the occasional bit of written work about like the anatomy of voice and different things like revolving how the voice is created. So that's been like a really nice unit. Movement has been different. So movement, we had 3 main topics, and the first one in our first term we started with was chair duets. I was so excited about chair duets because I'd literally just done basically my whole end of year drama piece for GCSE was like this chair duet piece. So I was pretty excited about that, and I found that part of the topic really enjoyable. My friend and I did it together, and it was like really solid. There wasn't many contact lifts because we're both useless lifters. We're actually the people who totally should be lifted, but it was a really nice piece. In my first time of musical theatre, we did To Be an Addams from the Addams Family, and we didn't really audition for it. She kind of just designated parts, and I was Morticia, which I was super excited about. And I enjoy musical theatre. I do a lot of musical theatre outside of college and like previously in school. However, I found the unit rather frustrating because most people weren't experiencing musical theatre, and that's not in any way their fault. They haven't signed up to do musical theatre. But I did find it sometimes a bit slow because of that. But I did really enjoy the first term of doing When You're an Addams because it was an enjoyable song to do, and I feel like we all kind of bonded through it. It was really quite funny. And then we had improvisation and principles of acting. So for principles of acting, we did a play. We didn't do a whole play, but we did extracts from a play called Hedda Gabler. I played Hedda, and we were in partners, and we did my scene was a scene with Hedda and Loveborg. However, at the beginning of the year, not everyone was really fully focused, and the assessment didn't really go all that well. My partner, who I'm good friends with now, didn't know his lines at all, and that meant we didn't have much time to develop it, and I was quite disappointed with it. But overall, I did really enjoy the unit. It was just difficult when at the beginning of the year, not everyone was as focused. Drama improvisation was such a good topic. So we did 2 improvisation pieces. A piece on refugees, which was less interesting as the other piece we did, but it was still it was an interesting idea to explore, and it turned out to be like quite a good piece, and I enjoyed doing it. And then our other piece was the behind of the scenes of someone trying to film their own version of Romeo and Juliet. It was really interesting because my character was quite high up in like the ranks, I guess, of like a filming set, and like I got to film this like whole argument scene with an agent, and I had like a thing for one of the actors. It was a very funny concept, and I really enjoyed performing it. So at the end of the first term, I only got grades back for principles of acting and drama improvisation, as the rest were continuous throughout the year. So in drama improvisation, I got a distinction, which I was so happy about because I tried really hard. For principles of acting, I was expecting this, but was still disappointed. I only got a merit, but I later found out that we do another topic which covers the same principles of acting criteria, so I did have a chance to improve it. Also, I completely forgot, throughout the first term as well, we also did context lessons. However, we didn't really cover any of the marked criteria throughout the first term. We discussed it slightly, but we didn't actually begin it until second term. So in the second term, we did devising, historical context, voice, movement, and musical theatre. Devising was covered in our project lessons. For our devising topic, we did a couple of small pieces about devising from different stimuli. So we did devising from music, devising from an image, etc. And then we did one big piece to perform. We were set the stimulus of terrorism, and it was definitely a difficult kind of stimulus because we all had to do terrorism, but we all had to make ours individually different. Our group also worked really well together. We really worked quite fast, and we developed quite well together. We just had a good relationship. So we finished quite early on, where other groups were still struggling to create. So it did kind of get very tedious. However, I did actually enjoy the devising topic, and in the end I came out with a distinction, which I was super happy with. For term 2 of movement, we did period dance, which meant I had to get my long skirt out, and we did a piece of a Romeo and Juliet ball scene. I did actually kind of enjoy this. Oh, tell you what it was to. It's to the theme of The Apprentice, technically now. I did enjoy this, but once again, there was times where it got tedious, and I felt like we spent no time on it at all. And I'm no dancer, so. Voice continued in the same way, of just assessing and giving us certain pieces of written work. And then for context, we finally got our first proper part of the assignment, and that was, we're doing our whole assignment on Macbeth and the context of it. So the first thing we did, we had this written work to do on the original context of Macbeth, like social, cultural, historical influences on Macbeth, and all the different themes and why the play is the way it is. I really enjoyed doing context, and I already had a lot of experience with Macbeth because I did do some of it at GCSE in my first year. So I did enjoy doing it again because it was kind of just like a refresher course, and I've always really enjoyed written work talking about the influences of theatre. And then in musical theatre term 2, we had to do a group piece where we directed and took part in a different musical theatre piece. And my group was set Our House. Now the funniest part about this is that in the exact same term and at the exact same time, I was deputy stage manager in Our House in a show that was happening with my theatre group. So I think it's fair to say we had a bit of an advantage. Oh hey, editing Heather back again, except a lot later because it's dark outside. The quality of this video is about to significantly decrease. So basically my battery decided to die and I decided to run out of memory. So I started a new recording again on my camera. So when I tried to transfer the clip to my phone, it's it wouldn't read it, so I had to post it to YouTube, download it from YouTube, so then I could edit it into the video. So I'm really sorry about that. If you're still here then, oh my god, thanks, because this video is so freaking long. but it's informative, so yeah, okay, carry on. In musical theatre, because I was doing our house outside of college, I had a lot of influences, and as a group we could all create a piece which was really good. So I ended up getting a distinction in that, which I was super chuffed about, and it also helped because I'd literally got a distinction in the one before that, so it meant that I was following suit. So in my final term, I was doing Principles of Acting, Performance Workshop, Context, Voice, Movement, and Musical Theatre. So in our project lessons, we were working towards our final performance, which was a performance of the play called Our Country's Good. The play is actually so good, and I really, really love it. And I'd never heard of it before college, but I really enjoyed working on it. I played Captain Arthur Phillip, and my group did Act 2, and there were some really good scenes for me in there. And it also gave me a chance to then redeem my merit in Principles of Acting, because this covered 2 topics of Performance Workshop and Principles of Acting. Alongside this, we also had a massive notebook to go along with it, and throughout, like, devising had like these really long blogs, and they're actually, unlike the blogs, which I found rather dull and boring, I really enjoyed doing the notebook because it gave me a chance to be slightly more creative, and it was something closer to what I'd been doing for GCSE, which I really loved. In musical theatre, we had a very different topic, so we were put into pairs and we had to direct a piece of our choice, and this time we weren't allowed to be in it. So I had done 13 the musical before, and I also thought that it'd be a very good choice for my class, who were quite energetic and definitely more acting based than musical theatre. So myself and my partner, we directed that, and I felt that it went very well, although there was definitely a moment where I thought I was going to get marked down because I'd been told that I was talking too much and not allowing my partner to talk, which we kind of disagreed with, and we felt that the piece went really well and we were one of the only groups to actually finish it. But we had to wait and see, but in the end I ended up getting a distinction, so that meant in my overall unit for musical theatre I got a distinction. In movement, we were doing a big group movement piece about walls, so like physical walls, mental walls. I felt like I was doing really well in this, and I thought I'd done really well in movement altogether, but I obviously hadn't really done enough, because in the end I've ended up getting a merit in it, which is fine, but I haven't had my feedback yet, so I'm not sure exactly why, but I'll soon find out. But it's okay that I only got a merit, because I guess I just obviously wasn't good enough, and my dancing has never been my strong point. We finished a voice topic, which I ended up getting a distinction in, which I was so happy with because I'd put a lot of work into the written aspect of it, and I participated really well in all the workshops, so I was kind of expecting it, and I kind of felt like I did deserve it. For context, we did the second part of Macbeth, and we had to put Macbeth into our own modern context, so I set mine as toddlers instead of adults as the characters of Macbeth, and I based it very much on using physical theatre and movement to portray fights and battles and different aspects of Macbeth, and I must have done it well because I ended up coming out with a distinction, which I was really glad about, because every other piece of written work I'd done in context I'd got a distinction in, and was super chuffed. Thanks, Mark. And then finally, in Performance Workshop and Principles of Acting, I did finally redeem myself, and I must have done better, and I definitely felt like I'd improved, and I ended up getting a distinction overall, which I was so happy about because I'd put so much work into the notebook and so much work into the actual performance, so I was very glad that that happened. So overall for the year, I got a distinction in everything but movement, which means I got 710 points to take through to me for next year, which is a really, really good start. If you want any more college-based videos, I'm sure I could definitely make them. Essentials, what to put in your bag as an actor, all of that stuff. Comment down below if you'd like it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck to any of you getting your GCSE results and planning what you're doing for sixth form soon. And I'll see you in another video. Bye!